world, you'd have 25 guys.
Probably 30.
30, yeah.
Yeah.
But depth-wise, seriously, do you feel like you're in a pretty good spot there?
I do. It's a little bit, obviously spring musical chairs, moving guys around. I think both of our tackles played at a high level last year, but who's to say they won't kick in and play guard? It just all depends right now. We got a couple guys that are out that I think will contribute, obviously with the depth, but so far I think we got enough. It's just what positions.
And obviously, we talked about John Lance at center. Do you still feel like you're kind of in search of that second guy?
I am, and obviously we had some new guys snap today in live situations. I wanted to see what they could do. Centers with one position, I don't think you have enough. And obviously competition, whether it's John, whoever it is at center, I want them to look behind and say, man, this guy's running my heels. I got to show up every day. And I feel like that's what we have. But complacency is going to kill you. So the more depth we continue to get, whether that's transfers, high school, whatever it is going to help us.
Speaking of complacency, you've had to adapt now to a new offense.
Right.
How has that adjustment, the install for you been?
It's been good. It's been tough. I mean, it's like we're all in the same boat together, other than KB, obviously.
Yeah.
But I think these guys, one thing we have here is our guys are smart, man, and they take football, outside of this building and they study it. So they've actually picked it up a lot better than I thought they would. Probably better than me, 19 ACT guy. But it's been good so far. And run game wise, we haven't put a ton in, so it's been easy in that sense. But these next 2 weeks, we'll kind of see really where we're at.
What have been some of your first impressions of Willis Patrick so far this spring?
Great kid. It's super important to him. So he's going to be a guy that, I don't yell at every guy. You got to learn your players and have relationships with them. And I'm still, because he's new, I'm still learning him. But I think he's a guy that if he messed up and I go yell at him, well, he's already down on himself. He's not a guy that needs a foot in his rear all the time. But he's another guy that put it center today a little bit, see what he could do. And from what I saw off the hoof, it looked pretty decent.
How important is it for you during the spring to cross-train these guys from going guard to tackle and maybe even center, like you said?
I think it's huge, because, look, I go in people's living room. I talk to recruits all the time. And I said, look, the best 5 guys are going to play, and that's, I don't want to talk out of both sides of my mouth, but if our best 5 linemen are all 6'1", 6'2", then that's what we're going to roll with. And I think if you wait till camp, I think it's too much on those guys, where I'd rather do it now in the summer. And then it always works itself out. That's the beauty of it, and just kind of let it work its way.
Is it pretty easy to sell those guys on that with, basically the recent success of Steve and Alon, how well they were just playing guard and center and, just being versatile?
Yeah, and Steve, it was easy for Steve because Steve will play whatever you want him to do. And I think that's our whole room right now. That is the one thing we are unselfish. But I think with the success Steve had at a high level playing guard and when he was all conference center the year before, I think that was an easy sell. And obviously these guys being able to see that and what it's done for Steve, I think has obviously helped, like you said.
I think one of the guys the fans kind of want to know more about is Tommy Boeckemeyer. How's his development been through the first 8 practices?
He's doing really good. He really is. And he hadn't played a ton of football just because he's, been unlucky with some injuries. But I almost treat him like an incoming freshman a little bit, just from the level of and the amount of football he's played. But he'll definitely be a guy. And the thing about him is he can play them all. I haven't put him at center yet because obviously that'd be a drastic change. But to me, he's a guard tackle kind of guy, and he's very smart.
One of those combinations I like that you do is putting Marcus at left tackle and Brandon to left guard. Is that something that you could potentially see this fall?
That's kind of like a wish list there, if that makes sense. I think Coleman is a really good player. I'm not so sure he's not an inside guy, but in order to put him inside, I got to have guys playing a high level outside. And the other guy that's not out there should be a guy for us too, and Nichols. So we got enough, and like I said, it's a weird year because we have a lot of outside guys and not very many inside guys, which is a good problem to have because normally, the tackle bodies are the unicorns and they're hard to get. So it's a good problem. We just got to continue to put guys in weird positions and see how they're going to react like today.
Hey, Chick, could this offense be more physical than last year's?
Yes. It's a style of offense too, a little bit. You know, it's back in the heydays of Baylor having all the success. Everyone thinks of passing, and it's weird. But when you look at it, they ran the heck out of the ball. I mean, they led the league in rushing, and that's something obviously. Look, we pride ourselves on. But from a physicality standpoint, a little disappointed up to this point, and I think it's a lot of new offense, feeling ourselves around instead of being able to just come off the ball. But I think we have the chance to be a lot more physical than we were last year.
Anything else for